You're with the Late Lunch on LMFM radio. It's one thing in life for women that's 100% guaranteed. I'm talking about the menopause. And yes, it's the end of fertility, but for my next guest, it marked the beginning of a whole new phase of her life that she's embraced wholeheartedly. Aisling Grimley is the founder of an interesting and informative website called My Second Spring. And it's all dedicated to the menopause. And the lady herself is with me today on the show. You're very welcome, Aisling.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Delighted to be here.
And I'm delighted to have you with me. I suppose the first question people will want to know, why did you decide to develop this website or go down this road in the first place?
Well, it was interesting that this time last year I decided I was going to do something different and I was going to start some kind of a business. And I remember saying to one of my daughters, I'm going to start something. I have no idea what it's going to be. It could be, the next big thing from America. It could be anything at all. And then I started to think about it, and it made sense for me to do something that was very close to home, something that was within my own, immediate comfort zone. So I brainstormed the idea with a friend, and menopause was on the horizon, and I was kind of intrigued by it because nobody talks about it, and it's like this, looming thing that's going to happen to you.
Is it still taboo?
I think it is. Yeah, I definitely when I started talking about it and thinking about it, I used to go around and say it to people, and the first few times I said it, I was completely embarrassed and blushing, and then I'd say it to people, and I'd say to them, "Do you know anything about that menopause?" And I'd say it out of the corner of my mouth, and they would kind of recoil as if it might be a contagious disease that I was going to spread. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And so from then on, I decided I would do I did a Start Your Own Business course, and I did a diploma in digital marketing. And at this stage, I had the idea of setting up a website on the menopause, because I thought, Ireland doesn't have a menopause website. It's something that is 100% guaranteed for all of us. Some people don't have any issue with it, and they breeze straight through. But no matter what, it's an event. And I just thought it was quite interesting that people were so funny about it. So I did the course, and then I met a website designer, and we put the website together, and so it kind of all took off from there.
Where did you get the name from? Because it really captures, what you're talking about.
Yeah, and again, this is the big thing for me, was the fact that the word menopause, it's really, you have to say menopause to try and get over it, and it's so negative. And years back, I'd read something, but I'd always logged in the back of my mind, which was that in China, they call the menopause a second spring. And that idea really appealed to me, because you do see it in older women who've got this kind of confidence and a new voice. And I just thought that this could be a great, it's just a great framing of it, that our second part of life is a new beginning, rather than, I think in this country we concentrate a lot, and from the way speaking to a lot of women, they think about the negative side. Because when I was doing my research, I did vox pops every time I was out with friends. I'd be saying, "So what do you think of the menopause? Do you know anything about the menopause?" And the words that came up were always things like dried up, shriveled up, my mother had a terrible time, the end of something. It was always really kind of dreary and negative. And I think that overall, a lot of people have those connotations. So this idea of a second spring, where you'd have a new confidence and a new beginning, it all just sounded much more upbeat to me.
Well, I have to say, you look like somebody that's in the spring of their lives.
Well, because this website...
You look really well. I have to say, you look healthy, you look full of energy. And you're obviously you're walking the walk as well as talking the talk.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry. I do think it's a big crossroads for people. So you get to this point in your, I'm 49, heading to 50 very shortly, and you look back and you kind of assess. I think for a lot of women, they assess where they're at, and a lot of us have spent the last, in our 30s and 40s, head down, either building a career or rushing around, minding children, which is all fantastic and really enjoyable, but we do end up a bit whacked out at times, and then you suddenly look up and you pop your head up above the parapet and you kind of think, okay, so who am I and what am I and what's going on here? So I think it's a really interesting time to audit, and it's also a big time where I think that we can suddenly think about putting ourselves first again, because we've done a certain amount of the rearing and our children are, getting along fine, and suddenly we kind of go, okay, actually, what about me? Who am I? What would I like to do? And I think it's a real opportunity for our health, and it's a time that, because this is another more information that I'd stashed, was the fact that, you get this idea that we're all going to get this enormous middle-aged spread. And that, so I remember hearing that we should try and be in as good condition as we can be in our late 40s. So then I think if, like anything, if you head in good shape, you're going to manage to get through it more easily. So it is a time, I think, to look at our nutrition and our exercise and to try and be as healthy and well as we can be.
So are those the secrets? Because you this is an opportunity for you today to spread this information even further. Is that a critical element of dealing with, living through and getting beyond menopause?
Well, for me, I think it is, because perimenopause, one of the very interesting things that I discovered during my research is that really an awful lot of the changes are happening in our late 40s during perimenopause, which is very confusing because women still have their periods at this stage. And so if you get a few symptoms, you don't know really what this is about. And a lot of women that I speak to, like, the really big thing is change in sleep patterns and anxiety. And those two things seem to go hand in glove. And you meet a lot of women who suddenly have a huge lack of confidence. And they don't necessarily associate this with menopause, because why would you? Whereas it's all that time in our late 40s that our hormones are kind of shifting, and our body knows how to deal with this, but we need to make adjustments, and we need to take it a little easier, I think, so that we can allow ourselves to make these adjustments.
Have you experienced any of the common symptoms that you'd hear about? You alluded to some of them there, that lack of confidence, of course, coming from lack of sleep if you don't have it, maybe mood swings, sometimes the hot flushes, things like that.
Yeah, no, I've had times when I'm just in the kitchen with seething rage coming out of my ears, and you wouldn't, totally unexplained. And the other thing is that, I wouldn't necessarily have ever suffered particularly from depression, but and I've spoken to other women about this as well, you can suddenly have a lot of very low feelings, unexplained. And I know a lot of people also talk about feeling invisible. And that's another very common time. So I think the psychological symptoms aren't as well known, but certainly with the women that I know. So you can end up going to your doctor and taking, anxiety pills. Whereas in fact, because for me, that's the big thing. If you understand or have some kind of a framework for things, it's a lot easier to deal with it. And that's what I like. That's my idea of the website, is that women can become informed and can get support. Because if you can think, okay, well, so that anxiety is to do with my estrogen levels. It's not to do with, I haven't lost my marbles. Because that's another one, actually, you kind of lose your memory at times with the estrogen shifts. And a lot of women can think they're getting early onset Alzheimer's, which is really worrying as well. So it can be a very lonely time, because you're kind of secretly worrying about yourself and thinking, oh my God, I've lost it. So I think that's why I think it's good to talk about it.
So that's why you've put this sort of framework together, and I have to say it is very well cemented, and it follows logically as well. It's really worthwhile. I'd recommend people to look at this, and we'll give the details later. But when you talk about the symptoms that you may feel there, and people go to their GP and that, I notice you writing about this. You say misdiagnosis, which you've touched on there, and inappropriate treatments don't help. I was thinking of HRT, for example. Yeah, but
I don't for a moment think that HRT is... obviously it depends on a diagnosis, and for some people there will be a diagnosis of depression or anxiety which may have nothing to do with the menopause. And for a lot of women, like for a certain percentage of women, HRT is the way to go. Because I know talking to the GP that we have on the website, she said that approximately 10% of her patients will really benefit from HRT. And I think with anything, it's a matter of knowing what options there are. So, it's very individual.
But are you saying that, coming back to the point that if you look at diet, if you look at your lifestyle, if you look at exercise and that if you from your 40s start concentrating in these areas and paying attention to them, that it will make it an easier transition in life for
I
women?
think that's very possible that it will for a lot of women.
But for some not.
But for some not. And I think I'd never underestimate the impact that it has on some women. And, I wouldn't have any... that's what I do. I try to provide the information so that people have choice. I wouldn't for a minute say that nobody should take HRT, because for some women that's the right thing. Whereas for somebody else, like yesterday I spoke to someone who's finding reflexology really helpful for anxiety. then somebody else might find acupuncture great for the sleep, and they may not. So what I wanted to do is to bring that to people's attention, that these different therapies could be helpful for symptoms of menopause. Because you may have, associated acupuncture with, I don't know, giving up smoking, but you mightn't have thought this is something that's relevant to me at midlife and that might help with to ease some of the symptoms. Because some of the symptoms are very, very tough, and women go through a lot of pain and trouble with it, whereas other women just sail straight through it and don't even notice.
Yeah, and I've heard this before on the show, that for some people it's not an issue at all, and for others, so always have the two ends of the scale, so to speak, and most probably are in the middle segment there somewhere.
Yeah, and I think no matter what, lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, all that stuff has got to be very valuable for us all, particularly heading into the latter years, or the second spring. Don't
forget the little phrase you've coined here with the website. Do you think that this issue of menopause, or do you refer to men at all, should I say, when it comes to it? Because is your website solely for women, or is there anything there that men could benefit from?
No, I've have the men in there as well. I have a section on andropause. I think the thing for women, like, a lot of these are just general midlife issues, first of all, but I think symptoms-wise, women get a more direct impact because estrogen levels can drop very suddenly, whereas for men, testosterone levels decline very, very gradually. So there's no... For most men, I mean, some men do have full-on symptoms, the same as the women, and some men have testosterone replacement therapy.
I was going to say there's no pause for men, but
no, apparently no. Some men pause. Some men, all this. You'll see on my website there, so the way men always go off and buy the Harley Davidson, or the get a tattoo or something like that. So. But I do think that men can have the same issues. And also, again, for men, I think they're equally interested in lifestyle, stress, managing stress, eating well, exercising more, all those things.
It's important as well. We're going to pause for a short while on Late Lunch. Aisling Grimley is with us. MySecondSpring.ie is the name of the website.
The Late Lunch with Moorhall Lodge Retirement Village RD for secure, independent community living. MoorhallLiving.ie.
We're talking about menopause on Late Lunch this afternoon with Aisling Grimley, who has a brand new website called MySecondSpring.ie. I suppose I'd be curious to know, is this a business for you, or is it a lifestyle choice, or what is it?
Well, that's the interesting question, and I'm amazed as well that so many people ask me. That's nearly the first question they ask. So I started off always wanting it to be a business, but realising that what I want to do is establish this website in a way that suits me, in a way that I want to explore information. I didn't want to be business focused right from the start. I want to kind of build up a trusted voice, I suppose, and an angle, and just concentrate on the content of the website. That was my first priority. And now it's been very gratifying because we launched in the middle of October, and we've already had more than 10,000 visitors or visits to the website, of which over 6,000 are unique visits. So that shows me that there's an interest in the website. And I've got great feedback in terms of the content and the look of it. So I definitely would like to make it into a business, and I have, my background is businessy. I have a business studies degree.
You have a varied background. This woman has done more things in one lifetime than people would do in 10, because as I said, you began in financial PR and investor relations here and abroad. Ballymaloe Cookery School.
Oh yes, that's all. That's very important.
Can you rustle up a nice bit of nosh?
Well, you see, I used to run that as a business. I did Ballymaloe for 3 months, then I came home and started cooking kind of from day one, and I used to do parties, buffets and things for 65 people of a Saturday night or a Friday afternoon, and then I have 4 daughters, and I had 2 daughters at that stage, and then when I was pregnant with my third, I was working from home, and it all just got too hectic. Pregnant with 2 little ones, and I'd have the girls, one would be helping me, inverted commas, to make a cake, and the other one would be making the pesto.
Let me lick that spoon, yes.
Yeah. And I'd be kind of nice and calmly trying to manage the whole situation. But anyway, it was a really enjoyable business, and I do like business. So I know your original question was about, can I make this into a business? So yes is the answer, I think. And I am about to make an application to the Enterprise Board for a grant to do with the website. And that's the great thing about that, is that you have to put together a business plan. And as soon as you start putting together a business plan, you start having to really think through, how can you make the money? What could be the income stream?
So making money, yes, from the web is not that easy.
Not that easy. And sure, look, Twitter haven't figured it out yet, so I'm letting myself off the hook on that basis. But anyway, at the moment, I see it as a threefold way of... so I think ebooks are certainly is something that I need to look into creating. And I'm kind of quite far down the line of creating an ebook. The next thing is that I sell supplements through an affiliate marketing program with a company called Cytoplan, who are top of the range, really good quality supplement makers. So if people go onto the website and they, for example, think they need vitamin B or vitamin C, there's good information there about those vitamins, and they will buy them. And I've actually started to make some money through the affiliate marketing. So that's one stream, and I think more and more there'll be products that will arise that'll become relevant. And then my third strand is, I think that there's a need and a demand for events. So I've put a toe in the water, and I'm having my first event this Friday, which I decided to keep it small and low key, so I'm having it in my home. But it's a nutrition talk by a nutritionist called Anna Collins, who is featured on the website as well. And it's a sellout event. I'll be glad to tell you.
Isn't that great? And you're testing the waters, as you
exactly.
say. But you know, when you said to me early on, when it came your turn to start getting information in this whole space, and you went in, you weren't impressed. There wasn't a lot there, so there is a gap.
Yeah, I thought there's information, but I found that an awful lot of it was very dreary, and you've got women kind of tearing their hair out and looking like they're half demented, and I thought, I just found that quite negative. So that's why I thought, so my website, I think it's slightly different from other websites in that I concentrate on lifestyle, because it's not all about just dreary old symptoms. I think it's interesting to look at our changing homes, you know, as our children move out the empty nest. You can kind of reconfigure your home to your own needs. Then you've got, you know, fashion, you've got skincare, you've got all sorts of whole wealth, like everything that we're all interested in at 50 and beyond.
You mentioned your 4 girls, and there's one of them which you hear this afternoon.
Yes.
They know, are they involved at all, or they just from a distance what mum is working at?
Well, actually I found that all quite interesting as well, because in the very beginning that was one of my motivators. Because I kind of thought, oh gosh, okay, so menopause is on the horizon. I would like to be open about this. I don't want it to be a taboo hush-hush thing in my house. So, not that I'd be going around talking about symptoms all day long or anything, but I just thought it was a word that I'd like to be...
I think 4 other women would stop you in your tracks there, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, anyway, there's no chance of menopause not being a well-known word in our house now. But the other thing was, and it's kind of a personal motivation thing, but, you know, I've been a stay-at-home mum for the past 13 years, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And I feel very privileged and lucky to have been able to do that and to have enjoyed it so much. But I also I get a bit of a kick out of the fact that I said to the girls, you know, I'm going to set something up, and I have set something up, and I think I enjoy that fact that it's a bit of a role modelling thing for them, because I definitely felt, in terms of career, I definitely felt sort of on the back foot vis-a-vis other women. It's the old, you know, stay-at-home working mum debate, but I definitely would have had a little bit of a complex. Well, I wouldn't go quite as far as complex, but anyway, I would have felt a bit funny about it. So I feel like I'm tallying something up for myself by setting this up as well. So it's a little, that's very significant. And the girls are really supportive, and although they do get fed up with me being on the laptop all the time from time to time, but because they're used to me being 100% focused towards the home. But no, I know they're very proud of what I've done so far, and they're certainly very supportive, and as is my beloved husband Francis, who'll be listening here now. But he is fantastic.
I was going to bring him into the equation. I wasn't forgetting either. I know you jumped the gun there with me, but you have a man in that house as well, and he's...
Oh yeah. No, he's more than well able for all of us and all of this. But no, actually, has been brilliant, because he's been right from the get-go. As soon as I said it, that I was going to set up this website, I was saying to the girls, listen, just don't tell Dad I'm going to do this business, because I knew he'd be so enthusiastic I wouldn't be able to stop him. So he has been very supportive. I know, like 150%.
And the message today we're getting out, I know you talk about the symptoms on the site, but there's real emphasis on, the bigger picture and looking forward, and that it's not an end, because for a lot of women, really, they do pack up their tent at this stage of life.
Yeah, and you can understand that, because I don't think older women are valued very highly in our society, and I think we have to value ourselves and inspire each other.
You really believe that?
I do, absolutely. I think that women can feel like they're kind of got wrinkly, and they're just not as because you look at magazines and you look at all the pressure that's around us to be fabulous and young forever, and all this Botox, and trying to keep it all at bay. Whereas if we can manage it, it would be very nice to age gracefully.
And it is possible to manage it. That's the main message we say today, that's the name of the game here, is embrace it, engage with it.
Absolutely.
Move on.
Absolutely, and don't be intimidated by it. And also, I think it's a great opportunity for us to move into our own shoes, to really find out who we are, what makes us tick, and move forward with that. Because it's a big opportunity. I truly believe it's a big opportunity. And to look where it's brought me on the radio and everything.
MySecondSpring.ie, that's the name of the website. Go in and have a look at it. You'll be more than surprised, I'm sure. And I've thought of a fourth strand for you. The 3 strands you went through?
Yes.
There is a fourth one. I could see you on the circuit, to ladies of an age, speaking to them.
Okay.
And
thank you, Jerry.
because when you
be
have
my promoter.
You know what I'm saying. I think there's an opportunity. I just thought of that there when we're going through the 3. But there's always ladies groups looking for guest speakers and things like that. And this is a good topic.
Excellent.
I think you deliver it well.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to meet you this afternoon on the show. Wish you well with it again. MySecondSpring.ie. Aisling Grimley is the lady's name. Thanks a million, Aisling.
Thank you very much.